Meeting for Monday, July 22nd, 2024. Please join me in the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you all please join me in a moment of silence for Mayor Dave Hill. Dana, could we take roll, please?
Councilmember White. Here. Councilmember Cook. Councilmember Fairley.
Here.
Councilmember Osborne. Here. Councilmember Thomas.
Here. I make a motion to excuse Gordon. I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 4, public hearing, 2024 Algona Comprehensive Plan update. Open the public hearing at 7:01. So we have comprehensive plan update.
Good evening, Council. Would you like me to give a brief overview of the plan? Is this the time for that?
Please.
Yes, please.
Well, my name is Cyrus Oswald. I work with Atwell. I've been consulting with the City of Algona and helping work on this plan with city staff for the last 2 years or so. Today I'm just going to give an overview of the entire comprehensive plan briefly and discuss some procedural items. Jessica, please feel free at any point to chime in with anything else to add. So first off, we're here tonight. Tonight, staff is seeking plan approval from you all. PSRC and Commerce, for the record, still need to review this plan. They need to have their 60-day window to approve the plan that we've discussed in the past. Tonight, we're looking for a plan adoption pending changes that might result from the review from PSRC and Commerce. Of course, you all can still review those changes. SEPA is also currently out for public comment, which might result in comments from the public that would have to be addressed. That again is the environmental review portion of this plan review. It's additionally relevant to note that the Planning Commission has reviewed every element and they have recommended to you all with approval any changes that we have made in city consultant staff. Again, just to reiterate this one more time for you all, of course, I'm just here to support you all in making informed decisions, communicate requirements from the state, etc. But you all are ultimately the decision-making body in charge of this. With that, I'll just dive into the plan unless you have any questions about the process I'm suggesting. So the introduction element, this is just plan overview, gives things like legislative requirements, an overview of the Growth Management Act, which is what puts up the framework for this plan, states the city's vision statement, gives a little bit of city history. Secondly is the land use element. This is a required element. It goes into things like urban growth planning, future land use, which notably has no change from current zoning, future needs, housing and job capacity, and then has a goals and policy section, which is really the future vision as the plan is outlining. These are the more tangible goals and vision of the plan. Next is the housing element. This is a required element. Gives a community profile, does some required equity analysis, looks at things like future housing demand, and then gives more goals and policies, those relevant to housing. Following that is the natural environment element. This looks at current conditions and trends for Algona specific environmental items like drainage, soils, surface water, flooding. It goes into some goal and policy implementation that's specific to national environment challenges, and then looks at those goals and policies. Following that is the transportation element. This is a required element. It looks at the city's existing transportation network, including the existing levels of service, looks at what future levels of service should look like, goes into the 2024 capital improvement plan, and then finally lists goals and policies. Next is the capital facilities and utilities element. This is a required element. You have to cover capital facilities and utilities. The city decides to combine them into one element. Gives capital facility inventory forecast, lists the utility inventory forecast, goes into capital improvement planning, and then lists goals and policies. Next is the parks and recreation element. Gives an inventory of parks and recreation services in the city, looks at partnerships, funding, and opportunities, and then finally goes into goals and policies. Our first appendix, of which there are many of which are technical, many of which are context-based, and they kind of provide all the context for the plan, technical documentation that has been created to support the development of the plan. First item is the glossary. This is just a glossary of terms. Second is a commerce checklist, which ensures compliance with recent Growth Management Act changes since the last update cycle. Appendix C is a policy gap analysis, which does a very similar thing. It identifies policy gaps in the past plan from the city of Algona, and then looks at how to update in the current plan to address those past gaps. So it kind of walks through different levels of policy coming down from the state, county, and then how is the city meeting or not meeting those, what should be changed in this current plan to accommodate that. The next appendix is the capital improvement projects. This is the capital improvement plan, fairly self-explanatory. The next appendix is the land capacity analysis, which is a required analysis that the state mandates that is performed to show whether or not the city has zoned land to support state goals for housing. And if it doesn't meet those, it would show how you are going to meet those, but Algona has zoned land to support state goals for housing. Next appendix is the traffic analysis, which is a technical traffic analysis looking at current inventory, current traffic flows, and looking towards future needs for the traffic system. Following that is the SEPA checklist. This slide is, I guess, antiquated at this point, but has been amended with any future SEPA documentation. This includes any kind of the environmental analysis that occurs. Following appendix is the housing needs assessment. This looks at current and future housing needs. It's the technical documentation surrounding housing. Following that is the multimodal level of service analysis. This is basically a traffic analysis for non-single occupancy vehicle forms of transportation. So what will the bus network look like today and tomorrow? Bikes, pedestrians, things like this. Following that is the public engagement summary, which summarizes all of the different ways that the city has collected public feedback during the development of this plan, and what's been received during the draft. Following that are appendix K, a series of implementation strategies. This outlines how the city could choose to accomplish the policies outlined in the comprehensive plan. So say next year the city decides that some specific land use goal should be implemented. This will outline how each of those policies could be implemented. Following that is the 6-year transportation improvement plan. These are plans transportation improvements for the next 6 years. After that, Puget Sound Regional Council certification checklist. After you all kind of approve this plan, it will get packaged up and then sent to PSRC for certification. That's that process we've talked about a couple times that takes a while. And this just is us walking through the plan and PSRC requirements to make sure that it's all aligning along the way. So we shouldn't have any unexpected hiccups when we send it to PSRC. Thank you. That's my overview of the plan and the process. Jessica, if you'd like to add anything or if you all have any questions, that's the time.
I don't think so. We'll have it for discussion again, and then from there we'll go through the review, and then we'll have it back in probably hopefully October timeframe, November.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? Anybody online have any questions? Okay, close the public hearing at 7:10. Aye. Item 6.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 7, reports. Linda. Bill.
Do not have any reports.
I'll give my one report. I met with the chief and Mr. White. We went over, and the mayor, we went over to Cherry Park and had a meeting with the residents there. And I think it was very informative and very educational, and there's a lot more to come. Okay. Chief.
Okay, sorry I didn't get those to you before the meeting. You have my report there in writing. I'll start with sad news and then we'll move on from there. Specialist Anderson resigned last week for personal reasons, and he needs some time to focus on himself and move forward, and we wish him all the best. On a positive note, since the last council meeting, I hired a long-term temporary employee to fill the vacancy with the specialist while Kari is out. Her name is Ashley Nash. She's 19 and a half years old, putting her way through college, very excited, energetic, and she's picking things up very quickly. Jessica, as you know, started as a record specialist, and Jessica's been working with her. Thank God we have her as a resource. You know, Ashley's picking it up very quickly. Tell her one time, she's on it, she's doing great. So please stop by the PD, introduce yourself. But she's our newest member of the A team. The two officers that we have in field training, Officer Mozafari, you met last council meeting as he got sworn in, and Officer Hardnett are both doing well. Officer Hardnett is now moved on to phase 3, and Officer Mozafari is in phase 2. Just for some context, we give at the end of each phase, we have a oral board where they sit with me, 2 of the field training officers, and we quiz them to make sure that they know they're competent enough to move on to the next level. Each phase has benchmarks, and that's what we quiz them on to make sure they know those benchmarks or their objectives. Next week is shift change. Every quarter we rotate the officers so they go to a different shift. That's for officer wellness. So that's going to be happening next week. Also next week is National Night Out. We have 5 events. If you're hosting one of those events, we have the signs for you. Corporal Fam will be putting them in your yard. If you want to move somewhere else or you want 2 signs, I bought enough for 2 signs for each event. And I have a big banner. So we're looking forward to that. 5, maybe 6 events. One's down in Green Acres and the rest are peppered throughout the city. So it's good to see the Green Acres neighborhood coming back. That was always a good one. And so we're going to shut down the whole street down there and have a good time. Lastly, I'll talk about, I spoke with and emailed again today. 167 road construction is about to start. Their traffic plan has everybody diverting away from Algona and going down C Street. Is everybody going to follow the detour signs? No. So we're going to have extra people out, we're going to be visible, and we're going to move forward. Other than that, I'll stand for any questions.
All right, so last week we had our finance committee and we set the budget calendar. Each of you should have a copy of that in front of you. We will have our first budget retreat on August 12th in place of a workshop. And then this last Friday night we had our movie night, and it's quite crowded, so it was pretty successful. The guys, public work wise, the guys have been getting ready for getting our HPA permit to work on the ditch. All last week and this week they've been working on their CECL certification, which is stormwater certification. And then as of, gosh, that was Tuesday morning, I promoted Dean to be permanent public works supervisor. He has really shown in the acting role that he's willing to, step up and continue our mission to get things up to speed, and he's been a great leader to the guys, and so he's on a 6-month probation, and then, yeah. That's all I really have for tonight.
Do we know how far out the permit is for the?
I thought we'd be a lot sooner, but I actually have a meeting with our wildlife biologist tomorrow. He's been on vacation, and when I submitted the application, the next day, some other biologist responded that the application was incomplete. And I'm a little concerned because the one we've been working with hasn't told us about certain things we needed with the application. So I'm gonna call him and say, what the heck? You should have told us we needed this stuff, or maybe this other guy just doesn't understand the situation. But I'm gonna find out more details tomorrow. So I'm hoping within the next week or two. If not, it'll probably be mid-August. But I'm really gonna have a heart to heart with this guy tomorrow, so we can get it sooner. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, audience participation. The city council encourages public participation during meetings of the city council and welcomes your comments. This time is set aside for you to speak to city council on any issue. The council ordinarily takes non-agenda matters under advisement before taking action. You are also invited to comment on action items as they are considered during the meeting. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each in addressing the city council. When addressing the council, please speak clearly, audibly, state your name and address for the record. You have anybody that would like to speak? Anybody online? Okay. Discussion items. Item A. Ordinance 1236-24, the 2024 Algona Comprehensive Plan update.
All right. So obviously we just heard from Cyrus. This is the chance for council. This is kind of an informal motion, just everyone agreeing that we can move forward with the review process with the other entities. There also, I had to resubmit the SEPA notice, so we're still in comment period. If we don't receive any comments in the next, I want to say we have a week and a half left, we'll just be ready to submit to Commerce and PSRC. If we do, then we'll bring it back to you before we do that.
Well, I'd like to personally say thanks to the planning commission and all the help that they had put this together over the last couple of years and stuff. I'm just really anxious to see this go off to the Department of Commerce and the PSRC for their comments as well. So this thing, nice work. Make a motion to authorize the presented version of the 2024 comprehensive plan to be submitted for review by the Department of Commerce and Puget Sound Regional Council.
Second. We have a motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
B, ordinance 1237-24, new e-bike regulations chapter.
Okay, we discussed it in the workshop. This creates a new chapter in Algona Municipal Code. This is based off of work that this council has requested and has done. It sets forth a set of guidelines to govern e-bikes, where they can be operated, what the speed limit is. It also sets a speed limit on the trail It also restricts, to answer your question from the workshop, Councilmember White, scooters cannot be on sidewalks or e-bikes can be on sidewalks unless it's part of a trail, designated as part of a trail. Otherwise, they're not allowed. So, Zach here and his partner have done a very good job of putting this together. It also incorporates the definition of class 1, 2, and 3 electric bike from RCW. So if those definitions change, we've adopted them by reference. Makes it very clear. This is first touch. And for the record, save the question being asked again, the electric one-wheeled, I looked up what these things are. Electric one-wheeled skateboards. You would like a definition and that added to the prohibition. Correct?
Right.
Big fat wheel, and they do like 20 miles an hour. One wheel skateboard.
Is there, other than that, I'll stand for any questions, but again, this is first touch.
I have a question. You made a comment that they'll put a speed limit on the trail.
Correct.
Is that just for e-bikes? Because I've seen some pretty hot.
A bicycle?
I don't like races.
So this ordinance is about e-bikes,
Right.
and
But
we
you
will
posting speed limits out there on that?
correct. Yep.
My other question to you is King County taking that trail over?
As far as possession of it, no, we
Possession
do.
for maintenance.
So the maintenance part, we have not been approached about doing maintenance. And of course, I still have, the city still has jurisdiction over the enforcement piece. But we have not been approached like the city can about them taking over the maintenance. So, but we would post it, and again, class 1 and class 2 e-bikes by state law can only go 15 miles an hour. So King County adopted a very similar code for their trails and parks. For e-bikes, they have a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit as well.
Yes. 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 Stop covering ours. I looked it up. Yeah. So that would be
We have no new business, old business.
There's
Well,
nothing RCW covers those.
Ordinance and resolution, resolution 1280-24, annual sidewalk in lieu of fee.
Seattle's MSRC. Seattle's the only one.
This is the third touch.
So I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 1280-24.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item D, resolution 1283-24, awarding bid of the Algona Wetland Preserve and Interpretive Trail Project.
All right, so last week was quite the week. This was the cherry on top for me. So I got an email from GEC, and they requested to rescind their bid due to a miscalculation. And they said that they're a very small company, and their miscalculation was enough that they would lose out on some money for this project. So I talked through it with Zach, and Hoffman is still wanting to take it on, and the dollar difference is $32,000 to use Hoffman. I mean, do you want me to expand on anything, Zach? Or?
I don't think it's necessary legally to expand further than that. I'll just note for the record that the bidder who withdraws his or her bid after a certain period has elapsed following the bid opening typically forfeits his or her bid bond, the bid security that's put up, but the city can let that individual or company out of that requirement if the city so desires.
Are they requesting that?
They haven't said anything about the bond. I would like to keep the bond, but
How much was the bond?
5,000.
Makes part of the 32. Okay, so then, what is your recommendation?
So staff would recommend awarding the bid to Hoffman Construction. Their bid amount was $510,035.
Okay, I make a motion we approve resolution 1283-24.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Yeah, this 32,000 is still gonna be covered under the grant.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. What do we want to discuss at the next workshop?
Next one will be budget retreat.
Budget retreat, okay. All right, I'm gonna find that piece of paper. An executive session, the city council will open an executive session for the purpose of discussion potential litigation with legal counsel RCW 42.30.1101I and RCW 42.30.1101G for the purpose of discussion potential litigation and legal counsel and to review the performance of a public employee. The executive session should last for
10 minutes?
10 minutes. If it is not further extended, the city council may take action after the meeting reconvenes in open session.